Sanya was riding her bicycle in a desert. I know the image really doesn't look like a desert, but imagine it to be a desert. She was riding her bicycle with a certain speed before the lunch, and when the lunch time came out, she was eating her lunch. After the lunch, she decided to resume her journey with her bicycle in the desert. Now, this is the question. Now, I will encourage you all to solve this question. Before you all solve this question, I want to remind you that if you want to solve this question, you need to know how to solve quadratic equations. So, if you can't, I don't know if you can solve it. I solve this question with quadratic equations. Okay, so if you don't know how to do it, or even doesn't know what the hell is a quadratic equation, I bet you must stop watching this video. Or if you're curious, watch the solution and maybe you might understand what is a quadratic equation and how to solve them. Alright, please read the question below and I'm going to give you 3 seconds to pause and try it out. 3, 2, 1. Okay, I think you all solved it. If you're stuck, don't worry, just see the solution and see where's your mistake and try solving it again. Okay, alright, let's make the question small so I have a space to write. Alright, so what's the question saying? Alright, so Sanya was traveling across the desert on her bicycle. Cool. So I'm gonna have a name convention. Okay, now before I just stopping reading the question, I'm gonna put some name convention. So under some variables, I'm gonna put 1, which means before lunch. Okay, before lunch. Cool. Now I'm gonna put 2 in some variables under like a script, like subscript. I don't know how you call them, but yeah, you want to put 2 under it. You're gonna see it. So 2, which is I'm gonna call after lunch. Okay. So those variables are like acting like, yeah. So after lunch, before lunch. You can put other variables. I don't want to deal with other variables. I don't want to think about other alphabets now. Okay. So we got that naming convention going on. Cool. So what is it saying? Before lunch she travels 60 kilometers. That means S, which means distance traveled. I'm putting S for as that variable. Before lunch is 60 kilometers. Nice. Okay, after lunch she traveled 48 kilometers. So S2 is 48 kilometers. Good. She put in 1 hour more after lunch than before lunch. Okay. So what is it saying? Okay. So is it saying that T2, to get T2, you need to add 1 more hour before lunch, right? So T2 is slower. So after lunch, she traveled slower. The time taken was slow. Okay. So like there was more time, right? There's more time, right? There we have to add 1 hour. So that's the difference. So I'm gonna change this into T2 minus T1 is equal to 1. Alright, you might think my explanation may be not really accurate or not understandable right now. Please read the sentence and make use of it and try getting this same thing with your explanation. Good. Now, what are we gonna see? Alright, but her speed was 4 kilometers per hour slower than before. So her speed right now is V1 minus 4 kilometers per hour. So from V1, which is like the speed before lunch, she now it's like from that 4 kilometers per hour to be reduced to get our speed right now. So that means our speed right now is slower than what is the speed before lunch. Okay, that's what the equations are telling me. Now I think there are 2 or 3 ways to solve this equation or like this question. but I'm gonna solve it in my way. So if you find any other way, please comment down, like how did you. Don't tell me in a very detailed explanation, just tell me what did you do so I can work it out after that. Okay, so I know this, so I'm gonna use this to my advantage. So the speed formula is this: distance by time. Okay, so I want to find time. That will be time s by v. Okay, that means distance by speed. All right, so I know what was my speed. That is v, which is, oh, I can say v1 and v1 minus 4. Those are my speed. So speeds, those are my speeds, sorry. Those are my speeds, okay? So with those, I can find a speed, right? So what are we trying to find? The speed. So I'm gonna use this relation to find this. Okay, got it? So I'm gonna put the name convention and define it. Okay, so what is T2? T2 should be S2 by V2. V2 is V1 minus 4. So what is my S2? It's 48, and it is divided by V1 minus 4. Now we have to subtract to get T1. What is T1? That's S1 by V1. What is S1? That is 60 by V1. V1 itself. That's giving me a difference of 1 hour. Cool. Now we have to find V1. While finding V1, I get a quadratic equation. So let's get the quadratic equation. Okay, so what I'm gonna do is multiply the entire equation, like the entire equation, by V1, sorry, yeah, V1 minus 4 times V1. Good. So why I do this is because I can cancel the v minus 4 down and the v1 down, so I can get these values up there, so the calculation seems easier for me. Now if I do this, I'm not going to write it down because it will take time. I'll cancel v minus 4 and v1, and here it will be v1, here it will be v1 minus 4. Okay, so that will happen. If you're not convinced, please write it down. Okay, I'm just making time here, right? Okay, so what will I get? F48 v1 minus 60 v1 minus 4 is equal to 1 times this is this, so v1 square, right, distributive property, and minus 4v1. So let's make that quadratic equation true. All right, so we are gonna like distribute minus 60. Why minus 60? Actually it's plus minus 60. So why did we not write the plus? Because it's a convention and it's technically subtraction, so it's in a logical sense why the plus, so just write minus, but it's actually minus 60. This number is minus 60, not 60. Okay, so we get minus 60 v1. Now minus into minus is plus. Actually, I don't really know why minus into minus is plus. If you all know why, please comment below. Alright, so minus minus will give me plus. So plus 60 times 4 for me is 240. Also for you, I think it's also 240. Alright, we get 48 to v1 is equal to v1 the square minus 4 v1. Amazing. Okay, what is 60 v1 minus 48 v1? If you work it out, you get minus 12 v1 plus 240 is equal to v1 the square minus 4 the v1. Good. Alright, now what do we get? Alright, let's find this out. We need the quadratic, like the standard formula type thingy right now. Okay, for v1 plus 12 v1, okay, and then minus 240 will give me 0. So I'm putting these two terms there. So I'm putting these 0. Okay, cool. Now let's just simplify. That's gonna be plus 12v. Sorry, it's not 12v. What? Okay, it's 8v1. Wait, what? Okay, v1 minus 240 is equal to 0. Amazing. Now I'm going to use the quadratic formula. I think you can also factorize. I'm not going to factorize because I like the quadratic formula. So if you don't know what's the quadratic formula, it is basically this: minus b plus or minus root d by 2a. Root d is b square minus 4ac. So it's not root d, d is b square minus 4ac. Root d will be root b square minus 4ac. Cool. Alright, let's do that. Instead of x, we are finding v1, so we have to write v1 equal to minus b. It's wait, before that, let's find d. Okay, b square minus 4ac. Okay, alright, so let's find d. That's 64, or I'm gonna write 4 squared times 2 square. That is still 64. I'm gonna write plus. You might think why it's minus here, because later on when I do the calculations, I can see a minus here, so minus minus will give me plus. So that means I'll get 4. Is 1, so no, not required. Now it's minus 240. I did minus minus to get plus, so yeah, I got plus, so plus 240. Now I'm gonna factorize 240 to be, what was 240? 6 times 4 times 10. Okay, that is 240. Now I see 4 square is common. This is the way I do. I like distributive property. So 4 square, 4, the 2 square is 4 plus, okay, if 4s are gone, 6 times 10 is 60. And what do we see? 4 square times 64. So if we find the root, d plus or minus root, we will get plus or minus 4 times 8, which is plus or minus 32. Cool. That is our root d. Now let's find, using the quadratic formula, we are finding v1, that's equal to minus b minus 8 plus or minus 32 by 2, and there's a is 1, so just write 2. Okay, now I'm quickly gonna say that minus 8 minus 32 by 2, I'm gonna reject it. Why? Because speed can't be negative. So I mean, velocity can be negative. This is, we are not talking about velocity, okay, we are talking about speed. All right, so speed here, speed can't be negative, so we're gonna say v1 is equal to minus 8 plus 32 by 2. That is 24 by 2, giving me 12 kilometers per hour. That's the speed before lunch. Now we have to find the speed after lunch. So that's not gonna take so much time, and we don't have to find using the quadratic formula, okay? We know the formula. That is v2 is equal to v1 minus 4. So what is it? v2 is equal to v1 minus 4. Minus 4 is minus 4 kilometers per hour, okay? So v2 is equal to, what's my v1? That's 12 minus 4. That's equal to 8 kilometers per hour. Cool. So we found found the answers. Like, so before lunch she was like riding 12 kilometers per hour, and after lunch she was riding with like the speed 8 kilometers per hour. Now per hour. Now there's a misconception that these are like instantaneous speed. I mean, for you who have learned like physics in a higher level, this is actually average speed. Okay, these are actually average speed, so these are not instantaneous. So she didn't always like while riding, she didn't go like 12 kilometers per hour the entire time. That might be true sometimes, but come on, who writes that consistently, okay? So if you don't know what's average speed, I'm not gonna talk about it. I bet this video is long enough. So I believe these are average because, come on, how can she ride that consistently? If she's riding that consistently, it's not average, okay? That's her speed every single millisecond and second of that time period. Okay, so we found answers. So let's write it in a neat fashion, shall we? So speed before lunch. Alright, I don't know why I brought the B capital there. Anyhow, wait, let me just do that. Okay, proper English. Before lunch, V1, that is equal to 12 kilometers per hour. Speed after lunch, V2, is 8 kilometers per hour. Amazing way the hour looks like that. All right, hover. So that's the answer. Why? Okay, why the rotation? All right, so that's the answer, my people. So I hope you learned something new today. So if you were wrong, find your mistake and correct it. Okay, so if you find this, like you solved this like before I solved this, amazing, you're great. All right, now solve some harder questions. All right, so if you correct this question also after your error, try some harder questions maybe. All right, thanks for watching. Bye, see you soon. Thank you. Bye.